many times does someone have to punch you in the nose before you put up your dukes and fight back? Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, day number 3 of the Torah portion of Bukukatai in my laws. We're still in chapter number 26 of the book of Leviticus, or Ve'ikra. And let's go down to verse number 6. And I shall give peace in the land, and you shall lie down, and no one make you afraid. And I shall clear the land of evil beasts, and not let the sword go through your land. And you shall pursue your enemies, and they shall fall by the sword before you. 5 of you shall pursue 100, and 100 of you pursue 10,000. And your enemies shall fall by the sword before you. How long has it been since that was the case? It would seem that the body of Messiah currently is battling against a spirit of intimidation. Most of us have encountered some schoolyard bully, someone who intimidates, bigger than we are, holds up their fist under your nose and dares you to stand against them. And normally that's done in front of a crowd, and you think, I don't know if I can take this guy or not. And I just don't want to get pummeled here in front of an audience. So what do? We tend to back down. According to Yah's covenant favor and blessing, he says, your enemies will not intimidate you, but rather they will be afraid of you. And you actually are the intimidator. You're the one whose prowess on the battlefield and whose obvious blessing and favor and guard of the hand of Elohim protects you from your enemies. Now there was a highway, an ancient highway, that was a major trade route going down from Assyria, or modern day Persia, down north, from the north down to Mitzrayim, or Egypt, and into Africa in the south. It was along this trade route that armies also moved. So when there was an invading army from the north, say the Persians, or maybe the, what's the word I'm looking for here, the Babylonians, when they came down, they're moving down from the north, and they would come down through this highway. Years ago, when Israel, on our first trip over, we were shown the valley of Megiddo. You can stand on Mount Carmel on one side and Mount Tabor on the other. And there's this enormous, beautiful, agricultural, blessed valley floor. And our guide told us that in ancient times that armies, when they're going to invade Israel, would come and assemble there, basically rob the land of its produce and its bounty, fatten themselves up, strengthen themselves, get resupplied, and then work their way down through the middle of the country, conquering as they went. So this trade route that it moved up and down was a place that the armies would go through. But Yah says, when you walk in obedience to me, they're not going to come down that road. They know better than to venture down the path, because he says, I will cause 100 of you, or 5 of you, to put 100 to flight. That's a ratio of 1 to 20. Then he also says 100 of you will put 10,000 to flight. That's a ratio of 1 to 100. That's tremendous odds. No matter what the size of your army is, if one of you can take out 100, then an army of 10,000s of thousands would fear you, because you have this supernatural ability to win on the battlefield, and you're not intimidated. The ratio increases as the number of people stand up and offer a defense against those who would attack. The body of Messiah has to learn to stand together and learn to not be intimidated. Presently, and here in America, oftentimes what we see is that our enemies internationally are laughing at us. Now, you can point fingers at whatever governmental entity that you want and say, well, it's, this one's fault or that one's fault or this group. It really doesn't matter what political persuasion our leadership is of. When the people of this nation walk in disobedience to Yah's commands, we have to understand and know our enemies are going to do exactly what they're doing right now, laughing at us, pretending that we have nothing that we can do. Last year we had a incredible, I'm struggling for words. It was a colossal failure of pulling out of the Middle East area. And it just did not go well. It was not well organized. And it wasn't just leadership, it was America that had mud stains on their face. Currently, other nations are doing what they want because they don't believe we have the ability or the willingness to stand up against them and say, you're not allowed to do that. But it's because the people of Yah in this nation are intimidated. And what I mean by that, it's not that you and I need to go out to our local armory or weapons store and buy another gun or buy more bullets and more ammunition. America is the most well-armed nation in the earth. It's not that kind of weaponry. We're trying to solve America's problems in the voting booth instead of the prayer closet. Our issues in this nation will only change, if they will ever change, it will be because the people of Yah get on their face before Him and acknowledge where we have turned against Him, walk contrary to His laws. And you may say, but that's not me. That's not what I'm doing. I'm pursuing Him with all my heart. Wonderful. I encourage you to maintain that momentum. But we're talking about the fact that we are a part of a corporate whole. And while you may be believing and praying and acting and walking righteously, which I applaud and encourage you to continue, everyone else is not. So it's not enough that individuals here and there stand up. Remember, we need to stand together. And the more we stand together in prayer and seeking the face of Yah, confessing our sins and declaring, oh Yah, you are our only help. You are our only rescue. Until we do that, this nation is under a perilous reign, no matter who's in office. Again, we're not going to elect righteousness. You cannot legislate righteousness. There are people that are applauding with the aspect of, or the prospect of Roe v. Wade being overturned. That's a wonderful thing in most of our opinions. But a legal decree does not change the fact that there are people who still murder and still take lives and still slander and malign and accuse. And an abortion clinic may close down, but if we're murdering with our tongue, we still have a lot of work to do. It's in the closet of prayer. It's in those places of prayer and intercession that a wave of righteousness can come through this land. And Yah can again favor us to whatever degree and for whatever period of time that we have left. Technology is not going to protect us. Obviously, our economy is not going to protect us. It should be very obvious that our leadership is not capable of protecting us. It is only those who will humble themselves before Yah and seek His face, repenting for the nation's sins, that will enable this land to maintain any sense of security for whatever time of the king until the kingdom comes. Think on these things, and we'll talk again tomorrow. To then, shalom.